So, on Wednesday, we covered the top 10 worst adapted Threshold Mortal Kombat characters, which if you haven't already, you can check out in the top right hand corner. We covered such butcherings as Annihilation Shinnok, Annihilation Jade, Conquest Noob Saibot, and more. But now, let's get positive. Hello my fellow oddities, and welcome to the top 10 best adapted Threshold Mortal Kombat characters. For those that don't know, the Threshold timeline consists of MK 1995, MK Annihilation, and MK Conquest. I have gone through every single character adapted in these three media and given them a weighted average score from 0 to 100 based on how accurate they are to the source material. Today I will go through the top 10 most faithful to the games. This idea was inspired by Fantagonistic's MCU Best Adapted Heroes video and that series they have on their channel, which you can check out for yourself in the top right hand corner. I will also be using their same criteria, but instead of the 3 C's, it'll be the 3 K's. Costume, the character's overall look. Points will be taken off for removing or changing the outfit itself, or physical characteristics such as race, muscularity, or hair. This one is weighted much less than the other two, just cause I didn't want adaptations who only resemble the character in appearance to get too high of a score. Character, the personal aspects of the character and who they are. Points are taken off for changes in personality, and missing or altered movesets and relationships. And finally, continuity, the what, where, and why of the character. Points are taken off for alterations to backstory, major events, and their place in the overall world. And one more thing, this is not as much a critique as it is a fun breakdown. This is not saying that these characters are automatically great, but simply that they are just accurate adaptations. I actually dislike a couple of these depictions, but they are pretty faithful to the source material. So without further adu, let's dive right into the top 10 best adapted Threshold Mortal Kombat characters. Starting with number 10, getting a score of 88.3 or a B+, and this might shock you since most people forget he was even adapted in this universe, I have Reiko, who appeared oh so briefly in Mortal Kombat Conquest. In the games, Reiko was the first general of Shinnok during his initial attack on the Elder Gods, and then rejoined him in MK4. However, he is much more known as Shao Kahn's general for his Outworld army, as well as his biggest fanboy. He wears a red and black outfit with dark markings around his glowing blue eyes. He has black hair with gray streaks, he uses shurikens, a spiked club, and he can teleport. His personality is... personality. Threshold Reiko is Shao Kahn's uber-loyal general who commands his army, and when not on duty, he stays by Shao Kahn's side at all times. He wears a 1-to-1 outfit with his MK4 look, his only look at the time, just without the glowing eyes. He doesn't get into any fights, so we don't see his moveset at all, which is why he's number 10 and not higher, but everything else is basically spot on. Sure, he does literally nothing, but... what does Reiko do exactly in the games? At number 9, with a score of 88.4, literally 0.1 higher than Reiko, we have Reptile, appearing in Mortal Kombat 1995 and Mortal Kombat Conquest. Reptile, or Sizoth, in the games is one of the last remaining of the Zaterran race of reptilians in Outworld, whose realm was conquered by Shao Kahn. He's on a mission to restore his race, and generally disguises himself as human as to not draw attention to himself. However, he never really gets the opportunity to pursue his mission, as he's too busy working for Outworld, particularly in the first and second tournaments, being a hidden warrior in the first and a real contestant in the second. He wears a green ninja outfit and he can go invisible, spit acid, and has a very long tongue. Reptile must be popular with the ladies. The acid spit thing might not work out too well. Unless they're a masochist. He doesn't really have much of a personality, but he's generally thought to be quite reserved. Reptile in Threshold is the ruler of Zaterra, a realm that was once independent, but got merged with Outworld. He is loyal to Shao Kahn, however out of fear rather than respect, and he secretly wants to regain control over his realm. He planned to mate with a queen from another realm, as he believes their blood could mix to create a race of powerful warriors. However, this plan is never able to happen, as Shao's sense of contingency is just too strong and has Reptile killed. He later appears as a different Reptile technically, but I'm just going to combine them into one adaptation since nothing really changes if they're the same in the first tournament as this ugly looking reptilian creature, his true form. He's given the task of looking after Katana. Eventually he fights Liu Kang, being thrown into this statue that gives him a human form. He battles Liu and loses. He wears a green ninja outfit and he's a very nimble warrior, being stated as the most acrobatic of all the ninjas, and he can spit acid and go invisible. Overall, a very accurate depiction of Reptile. Reptile, one of the only, not only adaptations, but just versions of the character that actually explores his goals of restoring his race to former glory. There are little things that are different, preventing him from being too high, like that whole storyline with the Queen, and his true form looking nothing like the games, but as a complete adaptation, very faithful. At number 8, with an 89.4, a B+, we have Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat 1995 and, very briefly, in Annihilation. Johnny in the games is the arrogant, self-centered, but charismatic movie star who joins the first MK tournament to show that he's still got it after some film bombs and accusations of being a fake fighter. He has a thing for Sonya, and in the invasion of Outworld, he is killed. He wears tight black pants, a red or blue waistband, and sometimes shin guards. He's shirtless most times and wears sunglasses in his intro and victory poses, but not in gameplay. He has shadow powers that increase his strength, let him shoot projectiles, and disobey the laws of physics. He also punches you in the balls. Johnny in Threshold is an arrogant, self-centered, but charismatic movie star who joins the first MK tournament to show that he's still got it. Perfect. And he has a thing for Sonya that's slightly more explored, and he's killed in the Outworld invasion. Seriously, this story is spot on. Except for one thing. Johnny Cage is the one that kills Goro, and in the original timeline, that would make Johnny Cage the Mortal Kombat champion. For some reason, it doesn't in MK 1995, but that's a big story change regardless. The personality and place in the world as a selfish actor who learns to care about others and be a part of the Defenders of Earthrealm is also pretty much perfect. Where he struggles is in two areas, moveset and design. He uses his shadow powers twice, once in each movie, both being jumping kicks that he doesn't do in the games. No projectiles, no super kick. He does do the nut punch, however, which saves this from being a real low point. What doesn't really have a redeeming factor is his design. He does wear sunglasses before fights and takes them off during, which is accurate, and he has the brown hair. However, his costume is just normal clothes. I get why they did it, it's just a little less goofy. The new MK movie is doing the exact same thing, but come on, can we just once get the classic Johnny design recreated on screen? So those really bring him down, but the personality and story being nearly 100% brings him right back up, allowing him to be on this list. At number 7, with an exact 90 or an A-, we have Sonya Blade, appearing in Mortal Kombat 1995 and Annihilation. Sonya in the games is a Special Forces officer under Jax. She's on a personal mission to capture the leader of the Black Dragon, Kano, for killing her partner. She ends up on the boat to the MK tournament after chasing Kano, and is forced to fight in it, learning to work well with others with Johnny and Liu. She then joins the Defenders of Earth against Outworld in the invasion. She wears a tight green outfit and black headband, and is very acrobatic and has some strong legs. She can fire ring blasts and somehow kiss a fireball at people. Her personality is pretty hard-headed and tough, but she has a softer side that comes out for those she's close with. Threshold Sonya is a Special Forces officer under Jax, whose partner was killed by Kano, and now she's hellbent on capturing him. She follows him onto the boat to the tournament, fights in it, kills Kano, which is different, and then gets taken by Tsung, but is released by her new friends in Johnny and Liu before fighting in the invasion of Outworld for the good guys. Again, like Johnny, spot freaking on. And while she does do both the leg grab, using it to snap Kano's neck in 1995, and the kiss of death in Annihilation, she has no ring blast, and her fighting style in general is just kind of crappy. Her outfit is much more accurate than Johnny's, but still a more generic version of her game look, being black and white in Annihilation instead of green. Personality-wise, she's very accurate as well, with both 1995 and Annihilation showing her two different sides. 95 had the more hard-headed Sonya, while Annihilation had the more personable side of her, showing her growth getting used to her new friends. So yes, a very accurate version of Sonya. I'd say the shortcomings are definitely in the design and the moveset, as well as the story stuff with her killing Kano and getting captured. She is captured in MK2, but not in the first tournament. At number 6, with a 90.8, wow, the whole trinity in a row, we have Liu Kang from MK 1995 and Annihilation. Liu Kang in the games is a calm pacifist Shaolin monk who left the White Lotus to pursue a life in America. He's the chosen one and a master martial artist, being able to perform a flying kick and bicycle kick, and having also mastered his chi to summon fireballs. He joins the Mortal Kombat tournament, meets Johnny and Sonya, and as we all know, beats Goro and Shang Tsung to become the new Mortal Kombat champion. After that, he beats Shao Kahn twice, once in the tournament, once in the invasion, to save Earthrealm. He has a very Bruce Lee inspired look with the hair, pants, but he also wears a lot of red. Threshold Liu also left for America from the Shaolin Temple, however he only returns to join the tournament because he wants revenge on Shang Tsung for killing his OC brother, Chan. This is obviously not a thing, and is kind of a major change to the character, since revenge was never really something he originally had to overcome, and there are some minor personality changes with him being a bit more emotional and heated than Game Liu. But basically every single other thing about him and his story is perfect from there. He joins the tournament, meets and befriends Johnny and Sonya, and is guided by Raiden to eventually win, defeating Shang Tsung. Then, during the invasion, he becomes close with the katana and defeats Shao Kahn. He shows all his main abilities, besides for the flying kick, using the bicycle kick on Reptile, fireball on Shang Tsung, and even turns into a dragon against Shao, reflecting his MK2 fatality. His costume, even though it doesn't feature red, which is very disappointing, is somewhat accurate for the most part, particularly at the end of 1995, when he takes off the tank top, which is basically a perfect MK 1992 Liu Kang. So yeah, overall, a very accurate Liu Kang with only one true major inaccuracy without getting into nitpicking, and that's the backstory with Chan, which just straight up doesn't exist in the games. But it's hardly a major character-breaking change, so I don't mind it too much. On to number 5 with a 91.3 and A-, we have Shang Tsung, hell yeah, from MK 1995 and Conquest. In the game, Shang Tsung has a very mysterious and unclear past. Some say he's native to Outworld, others believe he was born in Earth but betrayed his realm for Shao Kahn. Some even believe he's from the Netherrealm. Regardless, he's the first known champion of Mortal Kombat, fighting for Outworld. He is defeated by the great Kung Lao, and from then on becomes the host of the tournament rather than a combatant. He is very snarky, charismatic, and treacherous, constantly backstabbing his temporary allies and doing whatever it takes to get into power. When he's young, he has black hair and a goatee, and when he's older, he wears a blue robe with long gray hair and a mustache. He has the power to steal souls, allowing him to transform into whoever soul he's stolen, along with shooting skull fireballs. Threshold Shang Tsung, that's very hard to say. Threshold Shang Tsung is an Earthrealm native, that's actually where this theory originates from, who fought in Mortal Kombat. After cheating in a fight and being imprisoned, Shao Kahn corrupted him into joining his side, gifting him his soul-stealing abilities. Shang would go on to win multiple tournaments for Outworld before being defeated by Kung Lao. From there, under Shao Kahn, he would conspire against Kung Lao, being responsible for characters like Scorpion for the rest of the Conquest series. He even has a brief alliance with one Quan Chi in the episode Unholy Alliance, which is interesting because this actually released before Deadly Alliance came out, so just a fun little fact there. Years later, Shang Tsung is the host and also final challenge somehow, despite Goro being the reigning champ, of the Mortal Kombat tournament. He is defeated by Liu Kang in the end. In Conquest, he wears a pretty generic black outfit, but his hair and facial hair is very accurate. 1995 ditches the goatee, and most times he's wearing this leather trench coat, but at the end he wears pretty much what he did in Conquest. His personality is perfect. I don't even have to look at Conquest, which does have a good personality in its own right, but Hiroyuki Tagawa literally is Shang Tsung, so there's not even an argument you can make. When it comes to relationships, he hates Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and Raiden, works for Shao Kahn, and had a very powerful but unstable alliance with Quan Chi. All good. Powers-wise, he transforms into other people and steals souls. No fireballs, but that's not as important as the other two, so not a huge deal. Overall, I'd say the only thing holding this Shang back are the outfits he wears, which are still badass, but not faithful. But other than that, even the backstory doesn't really matter because we don't know Shang's origins in the games. At number 4, with a 92.3, we're on to the other sorcerer, Quan Chi, appearing only in Mortal Kombat Conquest. In the games, Quan Chi is a sorcerer native to the Netherrealm who works for Shinnok in his mission to take over the realm and overthrow the Elder Gods, but secretly he wants to take all the power for himself. In his mission, he does things like steal Shinnok's amulet and kill Scorpion's family before the invasion in MK4 is ready to commence. He's all white with black markings around his eyes and wears a greenish-blue baggy outfit with spikes around the shoulders. He's a master sorcerer with a particular knack for necromancy. His personality is very treacherous, but not more so than Shang Tsung, and he certainly doesn't have the charisma. He's a bit more weaselly, often preferring to work in the shadows rather than the front lines. Threshold Quan Chi is the leader of the Brotherhood of Shadow in the Netherrealm. Shinnok really isn't associated with the Netherrealm in this universe, so that's not a thing. Rather, Quan Chi's mission is to enslave Kung Lao as one of his servants, which his ally, Shao Kahn, also benefits from, considering the whole winning tournaments that disallow him from capturing the one realm that he really wants. So, Quan Chi works for Shao Kahn as one of the many people trying to kill Kung Lao in this series. As previously stated, he allies with Shang Tsung with the condition that he learns the art of soul sucking, but that pair-up falls through fairly quickly as Shang Tsung cannot be trusted, Well, neither of them can really. He has a one-to-one outfit with the games, and he is a master of dark arts and necromancy, being able to amplify the inner darkness of Kung Lao and his friends to get them to turn on each other. Along with that, he has a stable of Netherrealm assassins, including a trio of women, which is very accurate to the games, with the Sisterhood of Shadow, even though it's not the exact characters in that team. His personality is also pretty perfect, though he's missing the iconic, deep Quan Chi voice, which just feels wrong, though I understand it wasn't as iconic at this point in time. He was a very new character. But he is a treacherous sorcerer who constantly betrays and tries to overthrow people in a quest for power, even though that relationship with Shinnok is now gone. So yeah, a great character and a very accurate Quan Chi. At number 3, with a 93.4 in A, which is also what the rest of this list will be, we have Kano from MK 1995. In the games, Kano is the dishonorable, scummy leader of the underground crime organization, the Black Dragon. He's invited to the tournament, most likely just to bring Sonya along, and then he doesn't really do much after that until later games, which didn't exist yet when these media were created. He wears a white or sometimes red and black outfit, he's bald, and has a metal plate and red eye, which allows him to shoot lasers. He often uses a large knife and can cannonball at people. His personality is very grimy and rough, slightly comedic, but mostly in a sadistic manner. Oh yeah, and he's Australian. Very important to mention. And the last thing is he has a rivalry with Sonya, where he's very weird and creepy toward her, having killed her partner. Threshold Kano is the leader of the Black Dragon, rival to Sonya after killing her partner, is very scummy and gross, gets invited to the Mortal Kombat tournament to learn Sonya, and then dies, which is not accurate, but regardless, he never really did much anyway. He has a metal eye plate, red eye, and has more hair than the original, but that's fine, and he wears a brown jacket when not fighting, and is shirtless when he is. He does use a large knife in his fight, but that's about it with the moveset. No laser eye or cannonballs. He's not meant to be Australian in the movie, but the actor Trevor Goddard, rest in peace, tried to do a Cockney accent that came out sounding Australian, and that is actually the story of how Kano became Australian. But yeah, there are minor things that I could nitpick the hell out of, like his hair or no laser beams, which he didn't even really do in the games at that time either, or the fact that he dies, but being for real, this is almost a Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa level of influence on the character, and the core aspects of who Kano should be are all there and all perfect. It's just these minor little things that hold him back ever so slightly. At number 2, with a 94.5, we have Kuai Liang Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Kuai Liang in the games is the brother of the original Sub-Zero, Bi-Han, who joined the second tournament to continue his brother's mission. After the tournament, his clan of the Lin Kuei would start forcing their cyberization initiative, which Sub-Zero, along with his pal Smoke, were strongly against. The two went on the run, with Smoke being captured, but Sub-Zero being only branded with an eye scar. With the invasion of Outworld, Sub-Zero joins the Defenders of Earth. Initially, he wears a ninja outfit similar to his big bros, but removes the mask after turning on the Lin Kuei. He has the powers to manipulate ice. In terms of personality, he's a good guy, but with his background of being an assassin, it's not like he's a pacifist like Liu Kang, or just someone who's not able to go that far like a Johnny Cage. He can get his hands dirty, his very icy hands. In Threshold, Kuai Liang is the brother of Bi-Han, who was killed, and since there's no second tournament, we pick up right with his MK3 storyline of the Cyber Lin Kuei trying to track him down. He appears to save Liu Kang and Katana from Cyber Smoke, wearing the ninja mask, but takes it off to show his scar, just in time for a battle with Scorpion. He's a good guy and has an accurate personality, and he's also finally played by an actor with some amount of Asian heritage. Yippee! Sorry. But seriously, Keith Cook, who also played Reptile in 1995, is a really great casting for Kuai Liang. Okay, maybe not that great, he is half Japanese and not Chinese, but Kuai Liang is supposed to be half white, which Keith Cook is, and, you know, at least he's Asian at all, more than we can say about most of the other characters. He uses his ice powers as expected, and everything is great, so yeah, not really anything I can think of that's super inaccurate. Besides the whole no second tournament thing, but I'm not really going to take points off for the character if the movie itself is not telling that storyline. But he's not quite number 1, who may shock you, but before we get into that, let's talk about 3 honorable mentions who just barely did not make the top 10. Jax from 1995 in Annihilation with an 83.9. He's Sonya's commander in the Special Forces and eventually gets metal arms. Where he suffers and why he's not in the top 10 is the personality. Jax is not a comedic relief, overly black stereotype character. Do not mention MK Special Forces or its alternate in Deadly Alliance or I will break your neck. Goro from 1995 with an 84.2. He has a very accurate and impressive for the time design, and his place as the reigning champ and toughest challenge on the Outworld side is intact. I also appreciate that he has some honor compared to the big dumb monster he's usually depicted as. Issue is, he doesn't feel like a major threat he should be, since he's killed off immediately by Johnny Cage, doing none of his iconic moves by the way, and isn't even the final challenge that decides who the champion is. And the one who's just outside the top 10, Cyrax from Annihilation. He appears only in one scene, but shows off his near flawless design and all of his iconic abilities, including the nets and bombs. He's also said by Kuai Liang to be part of the Cyber Initiative coming after him, while also working for Shao Kahn. The reason he didn't make the top 10 is because, other than what I've just told you, we know nothing about him as a character. He has no personality and no backstory that reflects the real Cyrax, but everything else is so accurate that he gets here just based on that, despite having major shortcomings. But the number one most accurate Threshold Mortal Kombat character is, with a score of 96.6, Sindel from Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Sindel in the games was the Queen of Edenia, a realm that would eventually be overtaken by Shao Kahn. Shao would take Sindel as his wife, but she would end her own suffering, leaving her daughter Kitana to deal with Shao alone. She would be resurrected years later in Earthrealm by the Emperor, as a loophole allows him to invade Earth to reclaim his wife. He would brainwash her into serving him as his true wife. But after MK3, Sindel would be restored to her good self, reuniting with her now grown-up daughter, Kitana. She wears a purple outfit, has white and black hair, and classic goth makeup with glowing white eyes. She has the ability to sonic scream and manipulate her hair. Her personality changes from when she's evil to when she's good. When evil, she's very cartoonish evil with an exaggerated laugh and being very demeaning. But when good, she's a pretty generic queen character. In Threshold, Sindel was the Queen of Edenia, which would eventually be overtaken by Shao Kahn. Shao would actually kill Sindel himself in this timeline, but still resurrect her years later during the invasion of Outworld. She wears a pretty identical purple outfit, has black and white hair, and she can sonic scream, but no hair powers. She has, like in the games, been brainwashed and needs to be restored. When Shao Kahn dies, his spell over her is lifted, and she returns to the good Sindel, reuniting with her daughter, Kitana. Her personality is also the same cartoonish evil. Maybe a little too cartoonish.
Too bad you will die.
And when she's restored, we don't see much of it, but it seems to be the same personality as well. It's pretty much perfect. The design is slightly different, and she doesn't use her hair abilities, but other than that, the story is basically one-to-one. Her relationships are all perfect with Shao Kahn and Kitana, her personality is there, and I think with a few minor corrections, this is a 100 out of 100 adaptation. And that will do it. Comment down below if you agree with my top 10 best, and if not, who you would put in yours. Subscribe and leave a like if you want, and that wraps on this one, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.